I'm Sabrina Casas, and I'm a Community Partner Specialist at the Girl Scouts of Southwest Texas. Today, what we're going to be doing, we are going to be making our own first aid kit. We're going to learn a lot about what's in that first aid kit, why it's important to have a first aid kit, and why being courageous is part of first aid. So, all of this is going to be involving our Texas A&M University of San Antonio patch. All what we're doing here is based off the Business Partner Initiative patch that we have with our business partners. So, for example, we have our Texas A&M University of San Antonio patch. We also have our Valero, our HEB, our Shining Star, and various other ones. And we'll get to those throughout these next couple of weeks. But for right now, we're going to be working on this patch. For this activity, you can find it in our Brownie BPI curriculum. You can find it either on our website or you can find it on our link below. Okay? So, like all videos, we're going to start off, like every troop meeting, we're going to start off by saying our Pledge of Allegiance and then doing our Girl Scout promise. So if I can have everybody stand up, and we will do that right now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we are going to do our Girl Scout promise. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. Okay, everybody can sit down now. Okay, like I said today, we are going to be doing our own first aid kit. Now, we're basically just going to go over the stuff that's very important to know about a first aid kit, but we can be creative and make it fun for our girls. Okay, so we're going to go over to the whiteboard to learn a little bit of what we're going to be doing today, okay? We're going to be learning about being prepared. And one aspect and one characteristic about being prepared is that you have to know what courage is. Courage is a really, really strong characteristic to have, especially in our leaders, which our girls are. So, for the definition of courage, it is the ability to do something that frightens someone. An example would be, she called on all her courage to face the ordeal. We always have to remember, when you think of courage, strength in the face of pain or grief. It's very, very important we understand what courage is and how we can make it a part of our lives, of our daily lives, actually. I want to go over emergencies, because when we see courage the most is, for example, superheroes, our first responders like policemen, firefighters, and maybe right now our nurses and our doctors. So what in the case of emergency, what do we do? What do we go over? So it's always important to have a plan, right? When we have an emergency, it's important to remember our steps. Always to keep calm. The first thing is always to keep calm. Because when we think, we have to think before we act, correct? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to learn how to stop, think about what we need to be doing, and then act, okay? So, like I said, we're making a plan, right? One of the options you can do, especially with Girl Scouts, that we have an opportunity for you to learn CPR. Necessarily, you really don't have to around the brownies, daisies, and juniors, but we encourage it. It's always important to learn CPR and to always have that in your back pocket, just in case. Again, just in case of an emergency. Not saying that it's going to happen to you, but you always have to be prepared. Girl Scouts are always prepared, so this is really important to know. Look out for all the emergency exits when you go into a restaurant, when you go into a theater, wherever you go. It's always important, like I said, to make a plan. So watch all the exits, know all the exits, so that when and if there's an emergency, you know where to go. Also, Other stuff that you may have learned in the past. For instance, for instance, if there's a fire, right? Um, if you accidentally catch on fire, or like say for your clothes or anything, what do? Stop, drop, and roll, right? So that's important to know. Those little things, those little drills that have been embedded in your mind since you were little, those are very, very important. Act fast. Like I said, we have to stay calm, but as soon as we analyze the situation, look over what's going on, we have to act fast. It's very important. So, just next time, whenever there's a certain situation where you need to act courageous, just think about that. Stay calm, think about what you need to do, and then act. Okay? Practice safety drills. The drills that we have at our schools, those are very important, especially for emergencies, like our fire drills, like our tornado drills, and all the other drills that we practice. Sometimes it does get boring. However, it's very important that we understand why we do those drills. And remember, call 911 if there's ever an emergency. If there's something you feel that you cannot solve by yourself, call an adult, call 911, okay? And again, all encompassing this, stay calm, okay? Be courageous. Think of those superheroes that you have in your life. Act like that. Try to be that. Strive to be that, okay? But these are just a few in case of an emergency plans or ideas that you can think of how you could be a active or reactive courageous Girl Scout, okay? Now we're going to get to our first aid kit. Okay, so what we're going to do, now this doesn't take a lot of materials. Now you may have these materials within your home. However, if you don't, that's totally fine. We're going to be going over the stuff that we need to have in a first aid kit, okay? So, alright. So, a first aid kit usually looks like this, okay? It's a big box or a little box that you can keep within your car, within your backpack, within your purse. It's always important to have one around you because you never know when an emergency may happen, okay? But this is kind of like what we're looking at, all right? Now, as we make our first aid kit, it does not have to be this box. It can be a gallon bag, okay? For this activity, we can use this, okay? But I really encourage you to find either a first aid box at your local Walmart or any local store that you have, just so you can have just in case, okay? But for right now, for this activity, we're just going to be using what we have, okay, or what you have at your house, okay? So a gallon bag could work for now, okay? Either a gallon bag, or if you have like a pencil box from school that you're probably not using, you can automatically use this as like a little kit, okay? So either a pencil box or a gallon bag would work, okay? So don't feel like you have to go out and buy a first aid kit right now. You're totally fine with either a bag or a pencil box, okay? So let's go over what needs to be in our first aid kit, okay? So what needs to be in our first aid kit? And there is a list within the curriculum that the page number and the link are like I said are below in the information below the video. So please look into that if you want to look more into this activity, okay? So what it recommends that we have is different size of gauzes. Now, what are gauzes? It could be a large gauze like this, or gauzes that are wrapped up. They have to be wrapped up, okay? It's very important because, again, like what's happening right now, germs are a huge thing to be mindful of when it comes to, cleaning up a cut on your knee, cleaning up an elbow scar or scab or a cut. It's very important that we have these in hand. What gauzes do is that they help protect, like a cut. They help soak up the excess blood that's coming out of your cut or a scab, and it helps help that from soaking it up and getting all messy. So it's very important that we have gauze, okay? Also, rolled up bandages. Bandages like this, okay? These go on, say for instance, I've used these when I've sprained my ankle. So if one time when I was roller skating, I accidentally sprained my ankle, and a friend of mine helped me out. She had one of these gauzes, and it helps work as a brace. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be used for that. However, you could use it. It helps, as a cast, or, to cover up your, I would say boo-boo, to cover up your cut or your injury, okay? It helps give you that sense of security, I would like to say. So if there's, you don't have to have this, you don't have to put that, but it's always important to have this, just in case. And in order to have this secure, it's always important to have safety pins. So safety pins are these little contraptions right here. So these things help us keep our bandages, our rolled up bandages, secure, because not all bandages have this Velcro. Okay, there's some that don't have it, and so the safety pins really help secure those things. So it's always important to have either small ones, big ones. Right now I only have small, so we can either put that in our first aid kit. Okay. Next, what we're gonna do, we are going to add Band-Aids. Okay. So Band-Aids come in all shapes and sizes. It's very important to have a various amount of different bandages in your first aid kit. They can come big, they can be small like this. There's also little bandages that come in circles like this one. So it's important to have various amount of cuts, because not all cuts come in the same size, right? They all come in different shapes and sizes. So it's very important that we have various amount of big, little, small, round, square, rectangle. All kinds of bandages Band-Aids, Band-Aids are very, very important to have in our first aid kit, okay? After that, disposable gloves. Now, gloves are, I understand, pretty hard to find nowadays because it's, of course, of the situation that we are in. However, if you have some gloves, it is very important that we put them into our first aid kit, okay? You can put as many pair as you would like, but as long as you have one pair of first aid gloves, you are set to go with your first aid kit, okay? Now, after your gloves, scissors, very important to have. Now, these scissors are very special because, as you can see, they're not like your regular scissors where they're big and bulky. These are tiny suture scissors, okay? These can cut either, some gauze, okay? They can cut through gauze. Maybe if you're, let's say, maybe if a wrap is too long, you can cut it. These are very, very important to have. So now I understand that a lot of us have these kinds of scissors at home, but for future preferences, these kinds of scissors are very, very important to have. So just in case, these should be within your first aid kit, okay? But these have to be safely put into there, all right? Because they are very sharp. Sterile wipes. Now, all of us know about these little sterile wipes. Say, for instance, when we go get a shot, right? Our nurses and our doctors, they get a little swab and a little wipey, and they wipe on a certain area of our arm where we're gonna get the shot, and they wipe it down. Now that is a disinfecting little wipey. They come in little packets for your first aid kit. Let me see if I can find them. Yes, they come in these kind of packages, okay? So where you can just rip it open, disinfect the area. Say if you have a cut, just make sure to water it down. Make sure to wipe away all those germs with the disinfecting wipes. So these are very, very important to have, okay? After you have the wipes in there, antiseptic cream. Now, this cream comes in various different varieties, brands. One of the most famous ones is Neosporin. Neosporin is very, very important. It helps. It's a certain kind of cream where you can put on, or an ointment, you can put on a cut. It helps with scarring. It helps you from touching it all the time, from scratching it, and it heals it. So when you get a cut, you can easily just wipe it, just clean it with water. Take the wipe it off, and apply some Neosporin, and preferably with a Q-tip. Now, a Q-tip is something that you use when you clean your ear and stuff like that. Those are also important to have. But if after you disinfect your cut and everything, this is very, very important to help heal your cut. Okay. And last but not least, some distilled water. Now, for those of you that probably don't know what distilled water is is a type of water that has been boiled into a vapor and condensed back into a liquid. It's in a separate container. So it's kind of like filtered water almost, and it's clean. So it's not just any water you can get from a river or from a lake or from the tap water. This is filtered water, which means it's all been cleaned out and it's all not sterilized, but it's all cleaned out for you. It's always important to have that in your first aid kit, okay? So as we put in, that's only a few things you can have in your first aid kit. I listed these that were on the patch, the patch curriculum. So if you can think of any other stuff, please comment below. We would love to hear from you of any other ideas of what you put in your first aid kit that we probably didn't mention, okay? So please do that. We would love to hear from you with all your ideas. So as you stuff your first aid kit, I want you to think of these questions, okay? I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what are some ways you show courage, okay? Like we said before, in an emergency, it's our human instinct to panic, right? To worry, and that's okay. But we learn how to be courageous. We learn how to take one step at a time, to try to stay calm, and then to act fast, right? So it's important that we understand what courage doesn't come easily, but it takes a huge person to step up and be courageous. So I want you to think, what are some ways you show courage in your life, okay? Another question you can think about, and feel free to pause this video if you feel that I'm going too fast, so your girls can, write it down, think about it, talk about it. It's totally up to you. So please, if you feel like you need to pause the video, that is absolutely fine. But I'm going to continue, okay? So the second question I want you to think about is, can you think of one situation where you were courageous, okay? If you can think about, that time at school, or that time at a birthday party, or that time at a basketball game or a soccer game, if you can think about that one time you were courageous, think about it and share it with your troop, share it with your fellow Girl Scouts, okay? And share with us and comment below, okay? Another question I would like y'all to think about is, was there one situation where you didn't show courage? How could you have fixed the situation? What could you have done different about the situation, okay? Think about that. And a last question, name one courageous person in your life. And what makes them courageous? It doesn't have to, it could be a superhero, it could be a fictional character, they don't have to be real. But they can be real too as well. They could be, a family member, a relative, a friend, or some, a person, a teacher, a coach, whoever you think or whoever you feel that has shown courage throughout their life and that has inspired you to be courageous yourself, let us know. Let us know below. I would really, really, or we would really, really like to see who shows courage in your life. So I want you to think about those questions, write them down, or you can easily, write them down, take a picture, put it in the comments below. Whatever you decide, I just want you to think those things over. Now, we can do that as we pack our first aid kits. Think about those questions. I know for me, what I think of courageous, what are some ways you show courage? I think some ways I show courage is through, let's see, my leadership capabilities. I like to take the initiative. I like to be that kind of person where I, look at a situation and say, what can I do to help? And what can I do to make this person's job a little bit easier? So that's the kind of person, taking the initiative, looking at what the situation is, and also taking the time to understand what they're going through, showing that respect. I think respect and courage really go hand in hand. So that's one way I think I would show courage. I don't know if I can think of a situation where I show courage. I guess, I showed courage, when it came to thinking about, all those times where, I saw somebody being bullied, or, standing up for somebody who couldn't stand up for themselves. That kind of situation I can think of as of right now. Personally, I don't know if I have a certain, situation, but I think it'll come to me later on. But we'll see. I mean, that's okay if you can't think of anything right now. Take your time. Was there one situation where I didn't show any courage? There's plenty of times where I felt scared, intimidated. There's especially going to a new school. When I went to college, I was going from a very small school to a very, very big school. And I think that maybe I could have handled it a little bit more better. I wasn't very active my first year. I really didn't talk to anybody, but, throughout the other years, I learned how to be courageous, and I learned how to, put myself out there and be positive and be that person I know that I am. And so that's one situation how I solved it. And as for naming a courageous person in my life, I can honestly say that my mom is a huge person that shows a lot of courage in her day-to-day life. She had to take care of two kids, going through school by herself. So it was really, she was a very courageous person, along with my dad. He was a very courageous person in my life, and they both inspired me to be the person that I am today, and really take my values and share them with y'all, with the girls, and within my job. So that's one way I show courage. And that's one way that they have inspired me. So as I've shared with you, I hope you continue to share with us. Please comment below if your girls, if they felt like they needed to write it down, snap a little picture. It'd be great to see what they thought of, and also take a picture of their first aid kit. Now it's all packed and full. I'm gonna go put this in my backpack, and I'm gonna be safe and always aware of any emergency that is at hand. So it's very important, and I'm gonna go put this in my backpack. But before I go, I really want you to think about those questions, and I really want to hear your feedback. What did you like about the activity? Do you think we could have done something better? Also, be creative with this activity. Make it a game for your girls. You can also, I know something I'd like to do with my little brother when I was little. I love to play hide. I love to hide things, and then he would try to find them. So, like I said, when we said act fast, what you can do with your girls, you can hide like Band-Aids, gauze all over the house. Hide them in little perks and places. Make it a little scavenger hunt for your girls, and time them and see how many things they can find to put in their first aid kit. And make it a race. Make it fun. Make it be creative. It is all up to you. So we can make it a game. Also, I just want to remind y'all, if you felt that, if you had any other ideas that we could have done with this activity, just let us know. Comment below what you liked, what you didn't like. Let us know. We love to hear your feedback. There's no such thing as bad feedback. We can always learn and grow together. So I just want to remind you before we go and close out, that when you close out with your troop meeting, we'll close out with the Make New Friends song, of course. And then, I just wanted to remind y'all of that. Also, please share this video with all your friends, family, whoever you think would benefit from this activity. Everybody would love, in this time, everybody's learning. It's always fun to share what you've learned, right? Remember, when you complete the 4 activities for this patch, you can receive your very own Texas A&M University of San Antonio patch, your Patriotism Patch. So this is from the Brownie booklet. And remember, stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and always be a good Girl Scout, okay? Let's try to be courageous throughout this time. Show your courage. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.